Remember, click it in. A whole center thing clicks in. Let's grab some ink. Now to start with, you don't need to get screen printing ink. You can start off with normal fabric paint. Before you, if you can't get screen printing ink, fabric paint is just a little bit more expensive than the screen printing ink, but it cures at a low temperature, which means that you can iron it instead of using a heat gun or a dryer, conveyor dryer. Ink. Let's put it down. Always put a bit more than you need. Remember, the same stroke, no matter what we do, it's always this angle. Gently just put it over the design. Put it flat. Same angle, not too low, not too straight. If I do it straight up, you see it starts you can't, it makes, it jumps. You'll actually see it, you can look here, you'll see the lines or where it jumped. And you can see all the ink is still in the screen. So your print is not very good. Whereas, this angle, we have good coverage. Make sure it's lined up. Same angle, just plug the screen, if there's more ink this side, we don't push it hard. Give it a stroke. Now, before I forget, you have to edit it out. Once you've done your print and you're going to use your next color, or you're going to change your shirt, we have to always make sure that the stencil is covered with ink. So we have to always flood, make sure, okay, my ink dispersion unit is a little bit less on the side there. So pick up some ink, there we go. You've got to make sure that the screen is always flooded with ink, because otherwise it dries. And when the ink dries in your screen, you will not get good coverage. When we print commercially, it's print, flash, and then we print again to make sure that we get good coverage. Remember, it's always line up against the middle. That way you can always put it back in the same place again. Click it in. Flood. Print. Flood again. And now you can hang them. Now we have a perfect print. So let us print on an actual t-shirt now. Let's do this. This is the 3 color. It's this print here. This is this chart, but we'll do it in normal water-based quickly. So let's put that there. Okay, to put a shirt on a platen. Remember, this is the center line. Okay, it's a bit old, but there's a center line here. Your shirt, sometimes when you buy them, you can see they've got a fold line. Slight fold line, which is the center of the shirt. Don't always trust it, but you can kind of use it. Okay, so we've got the table tack on here, so it's a little bit sticky. Snap the shirt first, because there's a little piece of material, loose thread inside the shirt. The center of the shirt, the center of the collar. depending on where your artwork is lined up. Mine is 4 fingers from the here, so I put my collar 4 fingers, and the print is about 4 fingers down. Make sure it's center. You can use the center of that. The sides, the sleeves, make sure that they are identical, then you'll know it's center, and then just... Before we print a live print, always do a test print, in case we didn't tape the screen properly. And then another thing, with water-based printing, we print flush, no off contact, because we're driving the ink into the material to dye the actual fabric. Where with Plastisol, you want to touch, you put it on top of the surface, that's why it peels off. We drive it into the material. Let me show you why. Plastisol, you can see it looks like plastic. Now the reason why people print with Plastisol is I can put this in my screen, I can print, I can put the screen in the corner, I can put my screen here, I can go on vacation, I can go away for 20 years, I can come back, put the screen down, and just carry on printing. It just doesn't cure unless you use heat. So this is what it looks like. We don't use it. Where water-based, it's just a lot, like water, and it dries, air dries, so we cannot print, go for lunch and come back, which is why we flood the screen, so ink doesn't dry. But you can see here that the ink is starting to dry in the screen. So you can't leave it forever. It'll just dry up totally. So printing water-based is kind of print when you're finished. You're going away for a long period of time, clean your screens, and then carry on printing. Okay, so now we're going to do a test print. We're going to print this. I have marked what colors they are and the orders of the screens. Okay. Ink. Ink comes pre-mixed. You can buy the inks ready mixed, which is a problem in the sense that you might not want a kg of red. You might just need for one job. So what we do instead, we use a base. You get the clear base or the opaque base. We mix some of our base into a container. We take our pigment. These come in 30 mils. One of these pigments is enough ink to make a kg of color. So we don't need a whole kg. Very scientifically, I'm just going to pour a few drops in there. Check my hands. You can add a little bit more pigment to that. You should measure it out, but we'll measure it just now when we do the exact color matching. If you're working for yourself, you don't have to mix exact colors. For me, that's close enough for this. Okay, so test print first. Put down our ink. Always put more than you'll use because so you can flood the screen. Remember, same angle. Flood. Make sure it's clicked in. Same angle. Can you hear that sound? That zzz, zzz. That's what you want to hear. It's all good. If you're going to print a whole lot of shirts, you always have to flood. Because otherwise, a little piece of ink dry into the design, and when you print it again, that won't come out. Then you have to wash the whole screen and start over. Back into the container. Down our ink. Same angle, flood. Print. Flood. You can flood flat on screen. Flood. I didn't tape the name, so we have, I should have seen it here, I didn't pay attention. So now we've ruined the shirt, the client's not going to be too impressed. There's not much way of getting that out. But now you see what happens if you do not tape your edges. So, in a way I suppose it's good that that happened. Regular. Flood on the screen, same angle. Same angle. It's always this angle. If you can just get this angle right, when your first time you print, you're going to print, it's going to end up like this. And you're just going to smear it. So all you've got to do is make sure, consciously just make sure you get this angle every time until it becomes muscle memory. And you can see I'm just printing wet on wet. I'm not flashing in between. It's very rarely that I do flash time-wise. Flood. Print. When we finish printing, we just put the ink back into the container. Let's flash our shirt. Make sure our hands are clean. Stick to the glue. Voila! A full color, print in a couple of seconds. And if it wasn't for the not using the tape, it would have been perfect. But as we see now, we have got C2 for the second screen cyan stuck on it. Super soft. We'll cure it. What I normally do is now, once we're done, is I've got a washing line I've just got here. And I just hang them all up until I'm finished printing for the day.